And we're back again, and the never-ending list of jobs and things to do just keeps on going. But not to worry, we're here today. We've got some good stuff. There's nice things to do today. I've got some things to plant out. The polytunnel is almost full, but I've got room for, let me have a count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I reckon I can fit another 6 plants in here. If I squeeze them in, I've got 2, 3 with me today to pop in just down here. We'll get on with that in a moment. When I got up here, and I didn't know if there was room for another tomato, because obviously got to string the tomatoes up and stuff like that. I didn't know if there was room for the tomato, but I reckon there is. You know, I reckon we can squeeze another one in down here. Then remember plot number 2, the new plot, and I was adamant that I wasn't going to plant anything out there. I was just going to go over there. We're going to clear the beds out. We're going to cover them over. We're going to cut the grass. We're just going to leave it sort of. Well, I'm sure you can guess what's coming next. I've got some plants to go out over there. So I've got an idea. I've got some different things to put out over there, and I want to make use of the raised beds. We've got those big raised beds. I've cleared a couple of them out. So we'll go over there, we'll have a look at those big raised beds and see what we're going to do with them in just a jiffy. However, first things first, I need to not neglect plot number 1 that is currently planted all out. And I was up here just the other day. I was pottering about, didn't have the camera, nothing like that, just faffing about, doing some bits and pieces, doing some jobs. All the tomatoes got trimmed back, they've been strung up properly, we're all nice and sorted in here. That side, not looking too bad. It's amazing the difference the quad growers are having over here on the tomatoes. Much bigger plants, much further on than the ones over here in the halos, but we'll look at that a little bit more in depth, so maybe it's a different video. But for now, let me get set up. I'll come back to you in just a jiffy, and we'll get these final few plants into the polytunnel. So I've already put one of the plants out there. I've got another one. Actually, I brought a chilli up. I didn't realise I'd put 1 chilli in there and 2 sweet peppers. So chilli to go right down the far end. And I've got one of the sweet peppers left here to show you. This is one of the ones we were gifted from Mick, and they're looking like beautiful, beautiful plants. And I've got you the camera, honestly. I've just been sorted out. You're precariously placed right on the edge of a plastic chair because the polytunnel at the moment, it's just a little bit of a mess because it's sort of in that phase, that sort of thing where it's getting messy before it gets tidy. So I'm in the process of transferring junk from in here into some of the new sheds on the new plot, and that'll free up all the space down the middle. And quite frankly, I can't wait until I've got rid of all the junk out of here so I can walk up and down the middle of the polytunnel without too much trouble, and it's going to make my life so much easier, you know, in terms of like everyday frustrations, bumping into things and just trying to walk around things and get your way around, especially if you're in a hurry. If I'm just up here to water or something like that, it's a right pain in the butt. So halo pot, compost, bloodfish and bone already in there. Lovely, lovely, lovely sweet pepper plant. Not sure of the variety, just says sweet pepper on the label, but I am sure it will turn out to be wonderful. Some of the sweet peppers actually that Mick gave me, that had already planted earlier on the polytunnel on the other side, had already started flowering. I've got little fruits on them. I honestly don't think I have ever had sweet pepper fruits sort of this early in the season here in Scotland. And obviously the weather's been a bit mad, hasn't it? We had that really sort of hot sort of 3 or 4 weeks where the temperatures were right up, and then it's been really the last sort of week, the wind and the rain and the rain and the wind. And it's like the last video, don't be fooled by the blue sky outside, because the wind is so strong at the moment. The clouds come over an instant and the rain absolutely barrels down, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing work in the polytunnel today. But we're going to have to gamble soon and go outside to the other plot. But that's it. It's quick and as easy as that. So we've got 2 new sweet peppers in. I'm going to go down there, put the final chilli in there. Then this one here at the end, I've left a pot here at the end, right at the very end. I've got a melon to go there. So I've only ever tried melon once before, and I got 2 melons off it, but they were small. So we're going to put a melon there. I'm going to put another tomato here. I'm not sure what variety yet, but we'll get another tomato there and we'll get it strung up and all sorted out. But anyway, enough of waffling here, enough of hiding from the weather in the polytunnel. I'm going to gather up the plants I've got planned for plot number 2, the new plot, and we'll head over there. So, first job planting on plot number 2. We're going to have a mix today, so we're going to do some veggies over there. Well, salady sort of things, but I'll show you what they are in just a moment. But look what we've got here. We've got some beautiful looking dianthus, and I really want to plant more flowers, and this area here is beautiful, and I want it to remain beautiful. And there was some big horrible manky thistles in here that I took out at the weekend. And John and Evie, who had the plot before me, they had a lovely wooden bench on this sort of paved bit here in this lovely flower bed. And I've got this idea in my head, right? Hear us out. Inside the shed, inspired entirely by JB, little gas stove and a kettle that whistles, right? Get the tea on the go, get a good brew on the go, lovely wooden bench out here. And something I really don't do enough of, right? It's just taking like 5-10 minutes and just to sit at the allotment and just enjoy it. I'm always here. I'm always doing something. I'm always busy. I'm always rushing. I'm always trying to get plants out or tidy stuff up or pull weeds out or whatever is going on. But I need to take my time. I just need to slow down and just enjoy it a bit more. And I've just got, like I say, I've got this idea in my head that's what this area is going to be. It's going to be my little sort of chilutery, as they call it. I think, and we'll put them in. These dianthus, by the way, are looking beautiful. They've got little flowers on them. They've been flowering already. They've been in the polytunnel right enough, so they've been getting a bit roasty toasty in there, which is why they've got flowers on them. But these came from the garden centre over there, so Calder's Garden Centre. Can't remember how much they were. I got them when I did the video at the garden centre. I picked up these then, and I thought, you know what? Well, you know what I originally thought? I originally thought, this is before I had this plot and all that sort of stuff. I originally thought they'd go in the troughs, the sort of black plastic troughs that we've got over there. And I thought, oh, that'll be smashing, that'll be lovely, that'll be nice. But the troughs have still got the tail end of the spring bulbs in them because I was late putting the spring bulbs in. So they're all late dying back. So I'm not going to use them. And just as chance would have it, you know, time and tide and all that, and we've got this plot, so now why not put these plants in? And I probably should be doing a better order or something of them, you know, those of you who are sort of maybe it's a bit more practiced than I am at putting in lovely little bedding plants and flowers and stuff like that. In terms of, I mean, I think next year, I'm just doing this now because, like I mentioned before, I want stuff out of the polytunnel now. It's getting towards that time of the year where the plants are going to be getting big in there. So I need space. So I want stuff out of the polytunnel that doesn't need to be in there. So they're just going in a bit. We've got a big rock here. Let me move the big rock out of the way. So they're just going in here. They're just going in a bit higgledy-piggledy where I can see a bit of a gap. And again, like I was saying the other day, the soil here is amazing, by the way, the texture of it, and it digs so easily for getting plants in. And we've just got one level. We'll squeeze that in there. I've lost it. Where's it gone? There it is, hiding under there. So we'll dig. We've got a weed there. Let's take that out as well. Right, last one, going in, stick it in. On it goes. All these will get watered in, like, you know, at the end, and they'll be lovely. So there we go. That's it. 6 lovely dianthus. Some of them are flowering already. Like I say, the flowers look beautiful. They look wonderful. Lovely, lovely, lovely splash of colour. There's already well-established plants over there that are already starting to come back and flower. I'm so looking forward to this. Cup of tea, bench, sunshine, flowers. Lovely. Anyway, enough of me admiring my work and what I've done. Let's head over that sort of way to where those big massive raised beds are, and we'll get some stuff put out over there. So, raised beds, and I am in love with these raised beds. Honestly, when I was here, whatever, it was one night during the week, I was just here clearing through them, getting rid of all the weeds and stuff like that. And it was such a nice thing to do. It was such a pleasure having, you can see where they are on me, it's about hip height, so I'm 5'10". There you go, give you some sort of context to what I am, and it's up to my hip. And it was lovely, not being crouched over, not being bent over, not down on my knees. I mean, I've got that Neely gel pad sort of thing over there that I use. By the way, amazing, one of the best things I've ever bought. So I'll put that link down in the description below for that. But in this in this bed anyway. Spring onions and lettuce. John and Evie traditionally had all strawberries all the way through here. There's another 2, 3, 4 of these raised beds over there, exactly the same, all full of strawberries. Now I can hear it already. I can hear the comments. You can't grow spring onions and strawberries in the same bed. I'm not bothered. You know, I'm going to do it. I've got space. I'm going to put it in. I don't know if you should grow them together or not, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway because I've got the space, I've got the plants, and quite frankly, because I want to, because I fancy doing it. And these are the Katana spring onions, and you'll have heard me bleating on about these any number of times, and I think they are wonderful. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up there. You can see them there. They are marvellous, marvellous, marvellous little plants, and they've all been multi-sown. I'm not hugely accurate when I multi-sow. Some of these, there will be a bunch of 2. Some of them, there will be a bunch of 7. They're a bit of a sort of mix and match, but I use quite a lot actually. 2 things that I do use a lot of from the allotment: spring onions and lettuces. And speaking of lettuces, almost a sieve, I was leading into that, and we've got some beautiful lettuces. And what have you? I haven't got my glasses, I haven't got my contacts in either, so bear with me. We've got Valmain, which is these ones here on the edge. They're cut and come again. Then we've got Romana Bionda, which is a pick it all in one, an Italian white sort of lettuce. And then we've just got this sort of mixed leaf, lettuce leaf sort of stuff over here, which is, I think it's quite a good mix. Having a mix of the sort of cut and come again ones that we'll put in there, the sort of general purpose mixed salad leaf sort of one, and then we've got our fancy ones. We've got our blonde sort of Italian ones that we'll put in there. And I'm just gonna find a space where there's no strawberry plants right there, and I'm just gonna slot it in. Like, I'm not gonna overcomplicate it. I think sometimes some of this gardening stuff, I think we've got a bit of a habit of overcomplicating it. And I mean, don't get me wrong. You look in the Polytunnel where we've just been, and I'm a big as fan as anybody for having a bit of a faff on and a bit of a, you know, you do your this, that, and the other with your plants. But sometimes it is nice just to go a little bit simple. Just, you know, nothing much to it. A couple of lettuce seeds in some compost, and they grow into like really nice, lovely little plants. Same with the spring onions. They've just been sown in modules, bit of compost. You see, anywhere randomly between sort of 2 and 7, or maybe even 10 sort of seeds inside each cell tray. Chuck them in, and you'll get a really good bunch of spring onions. Like I say, with the spring onions, I always swear by the variety. Katana, again, the garden centre over there, Calder's, I'm really, really lucky that they sell the Katana spring onion seeds. There are Mr. Fothergills, so if you've got any Mr. Fothergills near you, that's where the Katana ones come from, and I think they're brilliant. I mean, obviously, you know, you get your sort of bog standard, your good ones, your Ishikures, your white Lisbons, that sort of stuff. Absolutely bomb-proof, rock solid. Can't really go wrong with them, but you know what it is? Katana, my favourites. And again, the Valmain lettuce and the sort of the blonde one, the Italian one, that name evades me because I could look at the tray, but you know, that's too easy. And again, did those 2 last year? They were marvellous as well. They were brilliant. But anyway, enough waffling on. I'm never going to get it finished. Let me get sorted out. Let me finish faffing on, planting this up, sorting it out. We'll show you this, we'll show you that, and then we'll be done. So I think I'm just about gonna sneak this in before the next lot of rain comes, because it's getting darker and darker. But you can see the little flower bed that we're working on here. We've got those sort of plants that were already established at the back there, right in front of the shed. And the little dianthus that I've just put along the sort of front there next to the edge. This will be the seating area. We'll get a lovely little bench on there. Maybe we'll see. I've got a couple of plastic chairs that are a bit naff. They'll do the job, but we'll see. I'd like a nice wooden bench in there. But let's come over here to where the big old raised beds are. This is where we've just been working. You can see what I mean about how they had strawberries in them, and you can see these ones here, the other ones have got strawberries all the way up there. These 2 over here, they need tidied out. They've got weeds growing on them. That is a job for the weekend. But up here, we do have some strawberry plants at the front, but we've got the lettuces and the spring onions that we've just put in here in this big gap. Further back here, more strawberries, but more lettuces and more spring onions in the gap because I'm just filling the gaps up that I've got on the plot. So there we have it. More jobs done. I am chuffed to bits. I'm going to go and clear some more weeds up there. You saw me clearing weeds the other day. There's more weeds to be cleared. You don't need to see me clearing more weeds, but I will endeavour to show you around as and when I get big chunks of sort of stuff done. We'll show you them. I think the other big job to tackle is the fence needs fixing over there. And also I need to venture inside the fruit cage at some point and trim down those fruit trees that are grown through the top of the netting. Normally I wouldn't touch them this time of year, but I'm going to chop them at this time of year because I don't want them damaging the fruit cage itself. Anyway, that is me done for today. Thank you for watching, folks, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.